Alright, we're going to review for your Conceptual Unit 4B test. Number 1, it says rewrite as a sum or difference of multiples of logarithms without exponents. The first thing I see is that they're multiplying, so we can rewrite that as ln of x to the 5th plus ln y cubed, and then we can drop it like it's hot and drop those exponents down. So then this would be 5 times the natural log of x plus 3 times the natural log of y. And there you go. Alright, so this one, it says use properties of logarithms to expand the logarithmic expression as much as possible. Evaluate logarithmic expressions without using a calculator if possible. So the first thing we want to do is get rid of that radical. So that's going to be log of s over t to the 1/8, which is going to be log of s to the 1/8 over t to the 1/8. So then we have division that we need to rewrite as subtraction. So that would be log of the top minus log of the bottom. And then the last thing we're going to do is drop it like it's hot. So we're going to drop down the exponent. So I have 1/8 times the log of s minus 1/8 times the log of t. Alright, so we've expanded those, and now we're going to go backwards. It says, assuming x and z are positive, use the properties of logarithms to write the expression as a single logarithm. So the first thing we want to do is go up like it's cold. You get it? Opposite of down like it's hot. So that would be ln of x to the 6th plus ln of z to the 5th. And then to rewrite that addition, we would use multiplication. So I'm going to have ln of x to the 6th times z to the 5th. And we're done. Alright, so on this one, again, it wants us to write it as a single logarithm. So again, the first thing I'm going to do is go up like it's cold. So that's going to be log of xy to the 6th minus log of yz to the 5th. Alright, when you do that, when you power a product, each exponent gets multiplied by the exponent. So that's going to be log of x to the 6th, y to the 6th, minus log of y to the 5th, z to the 5th. Alright, and then we can, hold on, let me switch colors. We can rewrite subtraction using division. So I'm going to have log of x to the 6th, y to the 6th, divided by y to the 5th, z to the 5th. And then the only thing I can do, I mean, technically I'm done, except for you have y's on top and bottom. So those would simplify. 5 of these are going to cancel out 5 of those. 6 take away 5 leaves 1. So that leaves me with log of x to the 6th y over z to the 5th, which would be A. Alright, this one they want us to write it using only natural logarithms. This is kind of like a change of base. If you have log base b of x, you can either rewrite it using common logs, which would be log x over log b, or you can rewrite it using natural logs, which would be ln x over ln b. Okay, so to rewrite this, this would be ln of x over ln of 12. And that would be D. Okay. This one they want you to use common logs. That means base 10. So we would have log base, or log x over log base 10 of x over log base 10 of 14. That would be B. Alright. Oops, did I skip one? Yeah. Alright, so number 7, it says graph the function. Mother would be log base 4 of x, which would pass through, let me think now, your exponentials pass through 1, 0, and 1, no. Exponentials pass through 0, 1, and 1b. So logarithms pass through 1, 0, and b, 1. So this is going to go through 1, 0, and 4, 1. So, but then this one says subtract 5 from x. So minus 5 minus 5, that would be negative 4, 0, negative 1, 1. And this says divide x by a negative. So negative 1, that gives me 4, 0, and 1, 1. So if I look for the graph that goes through 4, 0, right there, and 1, 1 right there, your answer would be B. Of course, you can check it on a graphing calculator, but if you do that, let me bring my calculator up and show you. Hold on just a second. There's my calculator. Come on, little guy. There he is. Alright, so what you would have to do is you would go to y equals, clear out all this stuff, but you're going to have to change the base because the calculator doesn't understand base 4. So you're going to have to type log of 5 minus x divided by log of 4. That's change of base. So if I graph that, then you can see that the graph is actually B. Okie dokie. Alright, so let's see next. It says find the exact solution algebraically and check it by substituting into the original equation. The first thing I have to do is isolate this. So I need to divide by 45. That would give me 1/3 to the x over 5 equals 5 over 45 reduces down to 1/9 to the first. What my goal is to make these match, because if these match, then I can set the exponents equal to each other and solve for x. So what I do is I figure out how to rewrite 9 using 3, and 9 is 3 squared, so this would be 1 over 3 squared to the first. And this is 1 over 3 to the x over 5. Alright, so now if I get rid of the fraction, in other words, move whatever's on bottom up to the top by changing his exponent to a negative, this would be 3 to the negative first to the x over 5, and this would be 3 to the negative second to the first. So now if I power my powers, which means you multiply, that's going to be 3 to the negative x over 5 equals 3 to the negative second. Now that my bases match, I can write an equation with my exponents, because they also have to be equal, so I can say negative x over 5 has to equal negative 2. And to solve that, I'm going to multiply by 5, which would give me negative x equals negative 10, divide by negative 1, and x equals 10. Yeah. Okay. Alright, same thing here. I've got to isolate this, so I'm going to divide by 3, which gives me 5 to the negative x over 3 equals 5 to the first. The bases match, so negative x over 3 has to equal 1. So to solve this, I'm going to multiply by 3. That gives me negative x equals 3. Divide by negative 1, and x equals negative 3. Alright. Solve for x. When you have one log on one side, to solve for x, you roll the log. When the log rolls over, the base moves over. So I would have 5x minus 7 equals 5 to the third, which is 125. And now to solve for x, I'm going to add 7. I get 5x equals 132. Divide by 5. kills that, and x equals, it says type an integer if it came out whole or decimal. This isn't going to come out whole, so I take 132 divided by 5, and I get 26.4. Alright, this one, we don't have a log on one side, and we have x in the air. If you have an equation where x is in the air and you don't have a log to roll, alright, the trick is you make a log. But if you log one side, you have to do it to the other. So I'm going to log 1.09 to the x, and I'm going to log 6.2. Now I can get x out of the air. I can drop it like it's hot. So I have x times log of 1.09 equals log of 6.4. So to get x alone, I'm going to divide by log of 1.09. Kills that, and I type this in the calculator. You literally type log 6.4 parentheses divided by log 1.09 parentheses, and you get 21.54035.291. If I round to two places, that's, oh, it says 4 decimal places. So 454035291. 1, 2, 3, 4 out. The 5 bumps it up, and my answer is 21.5404. And the 5 will bump it up. All right. Solve this one algebraically. Again, I need to, there's a log, a natural log. To get rid of it, you're going to roll it and move the base over, but you can't do that until you isolate it. So I'm going to have to divide by 7. That gives me ln of x minus 7 plus 2 equals 3/7. And then I'm going to subtract 2, so I have ln of x minus 7 equals, if I type 3 divided by 7 minus 2, you get negative 1.57142857. If you leave it a fraction, which is better as far as rounding goes, it's negative 11 over 7. So now I can roll the natural log, which is going to move the base over. So I have x minus 7 equals e to the negative 11 over 7. And then to get x alone, I'm going to add 7. So x equals 7 plus e to the negative 11/7. And unless they want a which they do, they want a decimal, so I need to type this in the calculator. So I type 7 plus e, second divide key, caret, parentheses, negative 11 divided by 7. And that gives me 7.207748187. 1, 2, 3, 4 out. 4 does nothing. So x equals 7.2077. Alright, it says state the domain of the function, then match the function with its graph. To find the domain, basically what you do is anything in parentheses, x times x plus 4, set it to 0 and solve. This would say x equals 0 and x equals negative 4, which means whatever this function does, it crosses at 0 and it crosses at 1, 2, 3, negative 4. Alright, so the only one that touches at 0 and negative 4, no. There's 0 and positive 4, no. There's negative 4, counting by 2's. And there's the 0. So it's got to be C, which means my domain goes from negative infinity to negative 4, union 0 to infinity. And if all else fails, you could type it in the graphing calculator and look at your domain that way. Alright, solve this equation. Again, we have a log on one side. If they don't write a base, it's 10, so roll the log and the base moves over, which gives me x to the 38 equals 10 squared. Alright, So now that's going to give me x to the 38th equals 100. And to get rid of that exponent of 38, I'm going to take the 38th root. That gives me x equals, and if I do 38, math 5, 100, I get 1.128837892. Oh, they want radicals. Guess we can't do that. Dang, I wish I looked at the answer. I don't think you can. How many 2's are in 100? Actually, not 38. Not. There isn't all that 2's. So my answer is x equals the 38th root of 100. Okay. Alright, solve. This one says solve graphically. But you know what? I want you to do it algebraically. I think algebraically is almost easier than graphically. I mean, I'll show you graphically, but let me show you algebraically first. Alright, if we were going to do this algebraically, alright, I'm going to kill the fraction, so I'm going to multiply both sides by 4. That gives me e to the x plus e to the negative x equals 12. The trick here is to make this look quadratic. And to be quadratic, this middle exponent has to be half of the first exponent, which it isn't. So this is not quadratic. But there's a trick. If I could make this e to the 2x and then just get e to the x somewhere, I'd be good. Well, if I multiply both sides by e to the x, that would give me e to the 2x plus e to the 0, because x minus x is 0, equals 12e to the x. Now, if I get everything on the same side, I'm going to subtract 12e to the x, and that's going to give me e to the 2x minus 12e to the x plus 1, because anything to the 0 degree is 1 equals 0. And now it's quadratic because x is half of 2x. So I'm going to do quadratic formula because there's no factors of 1 that make 12 to factors. So I would have not x equals, e to the x equals. Whatever's in the middle is what you're solving for. And that's going to be negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2 times a. That's going to give me e to the x equals 12 plus or minus the square root of 140 all over 2. And now, to figure out what your two answers are, you're going to ln both sides, because ln kills e. So because that's ln base e of e, that cancels, and my answer is x on that side. And over here, I'm going to type in two functions. I'm going to type in ln of 12 plus the square root of 140 divided by 2. So make sure you put that in parentheses. And I'm going to type in the natural log of 12 minus the square root of 140 divided by 2. And if I type that in, I have ln of 12 plus the square root of 140, close those parentheses, divided by 2, close the ln parentheses, and hit enter, and you get 2.885698622. And if you type the other one, ln of the calculator opens parentheses, I'm going to open my own, 12 minus the square root of 140, close the subtract keys, divided by 2, close the natural log keys, and hit enter, and you get 1.805649261. Alright, so, but they want us to do it graphically. Alright, to do it graphically, what you do is you go to y equals, clear out this. On the left hand side, I'm going to type in parentheses e caret x plus b caret negative x parentheses divided by 4. Oops. My calculator is, got to arrow off the exponent. Divided by 4 is the left hand side. For the right hand side, you got y equals 3. So if I hit graph, and I calculate where they intersect, second calc, intersection, I'm going to get closer to this intersection point. Sorry, I hate it when I do that. Hold on, let me bring the calculator back up. I hit the button too long and it started. Alright, so let's start that again. Calculate intersection. Trying to find my cursor here. There it is. So I'm close to this intersection. Enter, 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 and there is your name. Whoa. 144 minus 4. I typed this wrong. E to the x plus e to the negative x divided by 4. And 3 on the second one. Well, let me see here. What happened? Let's do this. 12 plus the square root of 140. Enter. Divided by 2. Enter. Will be 11.916. And if I take the natural log of that answer, oops. I get the 2.4 something. I'm going to do it again on my calculator. Natural log. That answer. There's my 2.477888873. And on this one, 12 minus the square root of 140. Enter, divided by 2. Natural log that answer, and you get negative 2.4. I thought they were supposed to be the same. I knew something was wrong. Alright, so sorry about that. There is apparently however I type, see why I hate typing more than one thing. However I typed this, I don't know what the calculator took the natural log of, but somehow the calculator didn't like this. So I got the answer first. This was this one was 0.16, no, 0.08392022169, and this one, I can't see what it was. Anyway, to finish doing this graphically, get my calculator back up here. We calculated that one, so if I calculate the other intersection point, I'm going to get closer to this one. Enter, enter, and there's your your positive 2.47, whatever. Okay, so that's graphically, and then this is algebraically. Alright, this one says solve for x. You can't have two logs on the same side. You either need to have only one log with the same base on each side, or you need to combine them into one. So I'm going to combine these into one. To undo subtraction, that's going to be divide the first by the second. Alright, and then I can solve. So I'm going to roll my log, which moves the base over. So I have x over x plus 4 equals 10 to the negative first. 10 to the negative first is the same as 1 over 10. Now I have a proportion. When you just have a fraction equal a fraction, you can do the extremes product has to equal the means product. So x times 10 has to equal x plus 4 times 1. This would give me 10x. This would give me x plus 4. To get x alone, I'm going to minus x minus x. I get 9x equals 4. Divide by 4. Divide by 9. Sorry. And x equals 4 ninths. And they want a fraction. So that would be 4 ninths. Alright, remember to check your answers. You can't ever take the log of something negative. And that would be okay. Alright, so if I solve this one, I've got 3 logs actually. I'm going to go ahead and get 0 on one side. So that's going to be ln of x minus 8 plus ln of x plus 18 minus 3 ln of 3 equals 0. So I got everything on one side. Now I'm going to get all of this. Make sure you put your power back up. Alright, so that's got to go back up. So I have ln of x minus 8 plus ln of x plus 18 minus ln of 3 to the third. Yeah? Okay, so now if I equals 0. So now if I write this all as 1, I'm going to have, I can rewrite addition using multiplication, x minus 8 times x plus 18. Division, that's going to be divided by 27, because 3 cubed is 27, equals 0. Now, if I roll the natural log, the log rolls over, e moves over, anything to the 0 degree is 1. So I have x minus 8 times x plus 18 all over 27 equals 1. So now to solve this, I'm going to multiply both sides by 27, and I'm going to go ahead and FOIL this out. Just to solve this, I'm going to have to do quadratic. So this is going to be x squared plus 18x minus 8x minus 18 times 8 is 144 equals 27. So now I'm going to subtract 27, and I get x squared plus 10x negative 144 minus 27 gives me negative 171 equals 0. And then I can solve this using quadratic formula. So x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times 1 times c all over 2 times 1. Let's see, 100 plus 4 times 171 is 784. So I have x equals negative 10 plus or minus the square root of 784 all over 2. If I take the square root of 784, I get 28, so x equals negative 10 plus or minus 28 all over 2. That is going to give me negative 10 plus 28 is 18, divided by 2 is 9. And the second one, negative 10 minus 28, would be negative 38 over 2. And negative 38 divided by 2 is negative 19. However, if we keep 9 minus 8 is positive, 9 plus 18 is positive, we're good. Negative 19 minus 8 is negative. When you try natural log a negative, you're going to get an error message. So I have to throw that one out. And my only solution that's going to work is 9. Alright, it says the magnitude of an earthquake is given by the Richter scale, whose formula is R equals log of I over I sub naught. I is the intensity of the earthquake, and I sub naught is the intensity of minimal earthquake, and is used for comparison purposes. The 1906 City A earthquake had a magnitude of 7.73, and City B earthquake had a magnitude of 6.7. Compare the intensity of the two earthquakes. And basically what you end up doing, guys, is you say that this earthquake is going to end up with a Richter scale of 10 to the 7.73. And City B is going to come out with 10 to the 6.7. So to compare the difference, we divide. So 10 to the 7 point, not the difference, to compare the magnitudes of the earthquakes, we divide. Divided by 10 to the 6.7. When you do that, the bases match, you subtract the exponents. So 7.73 minus 6.7 is 1.03. So that is how much stronger the first the difference in the Richters. I was looking at this. Type an integer with decimal rounded to the nearest tenth. So 10 caret 1.03. It's about 10.72 times stronger. Okay? Alright, the pH of solution A is 2.9, while the pH of solution B is 9.9. Okay, and I put my little hint down here. Remember that your pH is equal to the negative log of the hydrogen ion concentration. So it says the pH of solution A is 2.9. So 2.9 equals negative log base 10 of the hydrogen ion concentration. And for B, it's 9.9 equals negative log base 10 of the hydrogen ion concentration. Alright, so I'm going to divide by a negative. So it's going to be negative 2.9 equals log of the hydrogen ion concentration. To get H alone, I'm going to roll the log, which gives me the ion concentration of the first one. It's 10 to the negative 2.9. Likewise here, divide by a negative. That gives me negative 9.9 equals log base 10 of the hydrogen ion concentration. Roll the log, which gets hydrogen concentration alone. Move the base, that's going to be 10 to the negative 9.9. So it says, how much greater is it than that of solution B? Find the hydrogen concentration of solution A. For that. How much greater is that than of solution B? So those are the two that I want to divide. So 10 to the negative 2.9 divided by 10 to the negative 9.9 is going to be 10 to the negative 2.9 minus a negative 9.9. Those turn positive. And I get 10 to the 7th. Use scientific notation. So they want 1 times 10 to the 7th. Alright. Alright, a cup of coffee is cooled from 93 degrees to 60 degrees after 13 minutes in a room at 21 degrees. How long will it take to cool to 30? You've got to do two problems here. To answer this question, we first have to figure out this constant of variation. Alright, the constant, that K, is the rate, kind of, at which this thing is cooling by. So the first thing we do is here is my medium temperature. That's the temperature of the room. Okay, here's my initial temperature, so that's T sub naught. Here's my final temperature in this scenario. Okay, and then here's my time. So if I plug all of those into my equation, it was 60 degrees in a room that's 21 degrees, plus the initial temperature, 93, minus the temperature of the medium, 21, times e to the negative k times 13. So if I do 93 minus 21, I get 72. So I have 60 equals 21 plus 72 to the negative 13k. Alright, we've got to isolate, so I'm going to minus 21 minus 21. And I get 39 equals 72. What the heck did I get? Yeah, 72e. Sorry, I forgot my name. 72e to the negative 13k. To isolate e, I'm going to divide by 72. 39 divided by 72 is 0.5416 repeating, equals e to the negative 13k. To get k out of the air, I'm going to have to ln both sides. And that I get ln of 0.5416 repeating equals negative 0.613104479 equals, those cancel, negative 13k. So to get k, I'm going to divide by negative 13. And I get, for my cooling rate, 0.0472 if I round. Okay, so now that I have k, alright, I can come back up here, and now instead of putting, the only thing that's going to change is I have a new final temperature. I want that to be 30. So now I want to solve this thing and figure out how long is it going to take to go from 93 down to 30 degrees. Okay, well, so my final temperature I want to be 30. My medium temperature was 21. My initial temperature was 93. Minus room temperature is 21. To the e to the negative 0.0472 t. And this time I'm trying to solve it for t, because I'm trying to figure out how long is it going to take for the coffee to, or whatever, yeah, coffee to cool to 30 degrees. Well, same thing here. We're going to have 30 plus, 30 equals, not plus, 30 equals 21 plus 72e to the negative 0.0472t. Subtract 21. I get 9 equals 72e to the negative 0.0472. Divide by 72. Reduce, I get 1/8. Yeah, sure. Equals e to the negative 0.0472t. Sorry, lost my t there. Alright, to get t out of the air, then we're going to ln both sides. And if I take the natural log of 1 divided by 8, we get negative 2.0794415542. Those cancel, and that's negative 0.0472t. So now to get t alone, I'm going to divide by negative 0.0472. Negative 0.0472, and the time it's going to take is going to be 44.1 minutes to cool to 30 degrees. Alright. Suppose that $30,000 is invested at 8% interest. Find the amount of money in the account after 7 years if the interest is compounded annually. When your interest is compounded annually, you use APERT. Alright, so A is the amount of money in the account after all the time. That's what they're looking for. The principal is what you invested, so that's $30,000. Times 1 plus your interest rate is 0.08 to the time is 7 years. So since my letter's over here, it's not in the air, I don't have to log or natural log both sides to get it out of the air. I can just do the math. Alright, so I'm going to do this first in my head, which I'm going to write it down for you, but 30,000 times 1.08 to the 7th. Now, when you type this in, you're going to type in 30,000 parentheses 1.08 parentheses caret 7, and the amount that you will have is $51,414.73. So you almost made $21,000 off the interest. Alright, it says find the amount A accumulated after investing a principal P for 10 years at an interest rate of 7% compounded quarterly. Quarterly means that you're not just compounding your interest one time a year, you're actually calculating your interest 4 different times during the year. So we have to use this formula instead, paper not. Alright? So they want to figure out the amount in the account after investing $14,000, parentheses 1 plus my interest rate is 0.07. My K is how many times it compounds per year. Quarterly means 4 times a year. To the K, 4 times the time, 10 years. Alright, and again, we're going to type this in. I like to do the middle first, so if I do 1 plus 0.07 divided by 4, I get 14,000 times 1.0175 to the 40th. So now if I type that carefully, 14,000 parentheses 1.0175 parentheses caret 40, I get $28,022.36. Alright. Suppose P is invested in a savings account in which interest is compounded continuously. Continuously means a PERT. It says the amount accumulated after time and years is this. Find A if 3,000 is invested, so that's my P. E to the R, what's my interest rate? 3%, so 0.03 times the time, which is 3. Alright, so I have A equals 3,000 to the 0.09, and if I do 3,000 caret 0.09, why did I write 0.03? Sorry. Oh yeah, no. Yeah, my rate 0.03 times 10 is 0.09. Okay. got the E, goofball. Sorry. So if I type that in, 3,000 times E caret 0.09, I get, there we go, 3282.52 if you're talking money. Okay. Alright, find the future value accumulated in annuity after investing. Periodic payments are for T years at an annual interest rate R with payments made and interest credited K times the year. They give me everything. Future value, annuity is your clue that you need these formulas. So I'm trying to find the future value. The payments I'm going to make on this annuity are $600. Parentheses 1 plus I, which is your interest rate, so 1 plus 0.08 to the N, and N is N equal periodic payments of R dollars. So N is how many times you're going to make a payment, which is four. And interest rate I. $5 at an interest rate I. We have to figure out our I. Interest rate I. Give me just a second here. Okay, sorry about that. I can tell I've been off for 3 weeks. Okay, we have to calculate our... Why isn't that working? We have to calculate... Darn it. Where did I go? We have to calculate... Oh, I kept that. Sorry. We have to calculate our I and our N. And to get our I, we have to take our rate, which is 0.08, and divide it by how many times a year we are going to compound our interest, which is 4. So if I do 0.08 divided by 4, I get 0.02. And to calculate my N, I take my time, 7 times how many times I'm going to do it a year, which is 28. So my future value will be my $600 payment times 1 plus 0.02 to the 28 over 0.02, minus 1. Alright, so if I type that in very carefully, I'm going to type 1.02 caret 28, and that gives me 600 times 1.74102426 minus 1 over 0.02. So minus 1, and you get 600 times 0.7410242062 divided by 0.02. So divide that by 0.02. you get 600 times 37.051. Notice that I'm not rounding. You don't need to write it all, but times that by 600, and you get 22230 Now I'll round to money. So the future value will be $22,230.73. Alright, this one says find the present value. Again, we have to find our I and our N. Our I is going to be our interest rate, 0.069. 12 times per year, so divide it by 12. And you get 0.00575. To calculate my N, I take my time times how many times a year, which is going to be 120. So my present value is going to be my periodic payment of $777.69. 1 minus 1.00575. I did this in my head. Okay, just added 1 to my I. To the negative 1/20th all over 0.00575. Alright, I'm not going to write all the steps out, but I'll say it as I am typing. 1.00575 caret negative 120. Okay, then I'm going to do 1 minus that answer divided by 0.00575, enter, times the 777.69, and your present value is 67277.86, 67,000. Alright. Alright, find the periodic payment R of a loan with present value of $18,000, an annual interest rate of 4.8, term of 4 years, payments made and interest charged 12 times a year. Alright, so it's a loan, okay, which means we're doing present value. So they give me the present value is $18,000 equals my periodic payment, that's what we're finding. And I'm going to have 1 minus 1 plus, my I is going to be 0.048 divided by 4, which is 0.012. My N is going to be my 4 years. Oh goodness. Divided by 12, sorry. 12 times a year. 0.048 divided by 12 is 0.004. 4 times 12 is 48. So let's see, I have 1 plus 0.004 be 1.004 to the negative 48 all over 0.004. So I have 1.004 caret negative 48, enter. 1 minus that answer divided by 0.004. I have 18,000 equals R times 43.59424893 divide by 43.599 43.59 sorry not 99 dot and my revenue will be 18,000 divided by my answer $412.90 is what your payment will be. Alright, how much time will be needed for 38,000 to grow to 44,000 if deposited at 6% compounded monthly? It's not continuous, so we need ape or not ape or. So they want it to grow to my final amount 4413320. My initial amount is 38,000. 1 plus my rate is 6%, so 0.06. Compounded monthly is 12. 12 times t, because I'm looking for how much time. So on the inside I have 1 plus 0.06 divided by 12, which is 1.005. I'm going to do two things at once, okay? I'm going to divide by 38,000, and I'm going to do what's inside. So if I have 44133.20 divided by 38,000, that gives me 1.1614 equals 1.005 to the 12t. To get t out of the air, I'm going to have to log both sides and drop it like it's hot. So I have log 1.1614 equals 12t times log 1.005. To get t alone, I'm going to divide by log 1.005. That gives me 12t equals log 1.1614 divided by log 1.005. Oh crap. Log 1.1614, close your parentheses, divided by log 1.005. There we go. And you get 29.9999 blah blah blah. Divide by 12. And it's going to take 2.5 years. Alright. Alright, it says Ben Franklin's gift of $2,000 to New York City grew to $8 million in 200 years. At what interest rate compounded annually? Since it's annually, we just need a PERT. So we have the amount that it wants to grow to, which is 8 million. My initial amount was $2,000 gift. 1 plus my rate is what I'm looking for, and the time was 200 years. So we're going to isolate. I'm going to divide by 2,000 divided by 4,000 equals 1 plus r to the 200. Alright, to get our loan, I'm going to have to take the 200th root. So I have 200 math 5 4,000, and I get 1.04234215 equals 1 plus r minus 1. R is 0.04234215. Move it twice, and my rate is going to be 4.2%. Actually 4.23% because it said round to the nearest hundredth. Alright, it says complete the table about continuous compounding. Continuous compounding is a PERT. So it says the amount in 14 years, or wait, they want me to double it. So if I take 11.5 and double it, I get 23,000. So 23,000 would be my amount after doubling. 11.5 is my initial. E to the 0.09 to the t. So I'm going to divide by 11.5. 23,000 divided by 11,500, you get 2, equals e to the 0.09t. I'm going to have to ln both sides to drop it like it's hot. ln of 2 is 0.693147180 equals, these cancel, 0.09t. Divide by 0.09. And I get 7.701. So it's going to take about, to type an integer that's around to 4 decimal places as an for crying out loud. So 7.1234. The 3 won't do anything. Alright, now the amount in 14 years. Now we're looking for A. When we invest 11.5 at 9% interest for 14 years. So this we can just type in the calculator. 11.5 times e caret parentheses 0.09 times 4, and you get the amount will be 16,483.29. Alright, last one. For the following exercise, payments are made and interest is credited at the end of each month. Hey, Alexis, check your box. Edward obtains an 8-year loan, 8-year, 11,900 house loan with an APR, okay, loan, so we know it's present value. Alright, so let's see. Edward obtains, we want to know the monthly payments. So the present value on his house loan is 11,900. I'm looking for the payment. 1 minus 1 plus my I is going to be my interest, 0.093 divided by 12, because he's doing monthly payments, so 0.093 divided by 12 is so 1 plus that will be 1.00775. To the negative, I got to calculate my n. My n is going to be my time times the number of payments. 8 times 12 is 96 over 0.00775. So, if I start simplifying this mess, 1.00775 caret negative 96, and I do 1 minus that answer, and then I divide by 0.00775, at 11,900 equals R times 67.53881.046. And to get our loan, I'm going to divide by that. So I have 11,900 divided by that answer. And the payments are going to be 176.19. Alright, we are done. So, happy homeworking, and I will see you next time.